Greetings everyone and welcome back to the channel for another unlicensed 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the HHTOYS, and I believe, and I'm going to butcher the name here, it's also in conjunction with HAOYUTOYS. HAOYUTOYS. Well, if I'm butchering that name, I do apologise. But yeah, essentially it's Arnold Schwarzenegger from the 1982 John Milius directed Conan the Barbarian. A character initially created by, I think it was Robert Howard back in approximately 1931. This is an old character, but it appears it was a character that Big Arnie was destined to play. The film itself starred Arnold, obviously, James Earl Jones, Sandahl Bergman, and was actually co-written by the director Oliver Stone, surprisingly. Didn't know that until I did a bit of research on the film itself, but yeah. Arguably, this is the film that broke Big Arnie into the big time. It spawned a slightly watered-down sequel in 1984, Conan the Destroyer, the same year, obviously, that gave us the Terminator. But yeah, as I say, arguably the film that broke Big Arnie. It passed me by back in '84. All my focus was on the Terminator, but on revisiting them, they do have a camp quality, and as I say, a perfect vehicle for Arnold Schwarzenegger. So yeah. As always, what we'll be doing is we'll be taking a look at the box, diving down onto the table, having a look at all the accessories that come with your Conan figure. We'll call him Conan, for argument's sake. Then it'll be onto the turntable with the figure itself, having an up-close look at him. Then, as always, over into the detail and see how the big guy displays. So, yeah, without further ado, let's take a look at this box itself. And quite an imposing box it is too. It's a big one. The front isn't that big, but it's very, very deep and very, very heavy. I'm assuming this is down to the size of the figure, and possibly the base that comes with it. It looks like it's got a very nice diorama display base. This figure is brand new to me, as are HHMODEL toys, as are HAOYUTOYS. Don't have any of their figures in my collection. It's a new one on me, so this is a voyage of discovery for all of us. Literally, this thing has just arrived, so it's straight in front of the camera. The figure hasn't been out of the box as of yet. It's still sealed, so bear with me. It's all new territory. But yeah, the box itself. So what do we get? As I say, quite deep, quite big, quite heavy, quite simple. I mean, it's a good quality card, but the front here is a stylized picture of Conan himself. We've got some kind of backdrop there of rocks. Can't quite make that out. It's very, very simple. Minimum of colours used here. We just sort of got a green and browns and blacks, with the odd yellow thrown in there. It just says Barbarian of Imperial Legion on the front. There's the company credits at the bottom. Let's spin this box around and see what's on the side. On the side there, you've got 1/6 Imperial Legion Barbarian, and a little design there. The paint job on there is continued from the front round the sides. On the back, once again, it's a relief of that same stylized picture. Usual warnings on the back of the box, as always. Don't piss this figure off, as it might impale you on a large sword. Yeah, on the other side, we've got the same as on there, the 1/6 Imperial Legion Barbarian. So relatively straightforward. Continue with the image from the front. There's a sword there with what looks like some blood spatter effect. Very heavy box, very simple box, very straightforward design, nothing too fancy, imposing, yeah, but yeah, nothing to write home about, but it does the job. So, as always, let's get this box unsealed. Let's dive down to the table and take a look at all the accessories that you get with your Conan figure. Okay, so here we are down on the table with all the accessories that come with your Conan figure. I'm going to call it HHTOYS. Before we take a look at them, though, just like to say a huge shout out to everybody who's liked, commented, and subscribed to the channel. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon. We've got plenty more content coming up. So yeah, thanks to everybody for supporting the channel, and also as well, as usual, a huge shout out to William Wang for providing me with this figure. A link, as always, will be in his to his Facebook page, will be in the description below. If you're after this figure, any other 6 scale figure, any statue, contact you, drop him a line, and I'm sure he'll be more than willing to try and help you out. So, yeah, without further ado, let's dive into these accessories. There's not an awful lot of them, so this shouldn't take too long. We'll pander to my hand fetish first and take a look at the hands themselves. I believe there are 2 on the figure. Yes, there are. We've got another 2 here, so you've got 6 pairs in total. So let's take a quick look at them, see what kind of quality we're looking at here. For a third party, these look pretty good to my untrained eye. They look okay. Let's get them into the camera here so you can get a closer look at them. As I say, this is a brand new figure to me. Literally, this is the first time it's been out of the box. So this is the first time I've seen these, and they're not too bad. Sculpting's okay. There's a few seam lines in there, maybe. There's an ugly seam line across the other palm of the hand there. But as I said, this is a third party and produced to a price point. So let's just turn this light in here so you can get a better look at these hands. Yeah, there's some nice bone structure there. There's some vein work. There's some reddening of the knuckles. There's a certain amount of flexibility. This is a sort of a medium to soft hand, which is pretty good for posing. But yeah, not the best hands in the world, but not the worst hands I've ever seen. So you've got that gripping hand there, that gripping hand there, which is pretty much identical to this one. As I say, there are some ugly seam lines on there, but, you know, this is a third party, so things can be forgiven. And then we've got 2 fisted hands here, and once again, it's the same story. Bit of reddening on the knuckles. Not the best sculpting I've ever seen, but probably not the worst I've ever seen either. Yeah, some vein work and some bone structure in those hands there. So that's the fisted hands. So let's put those to one side. What else do you get with your Conan figure? As I say, relatively light on accessories here, but let's take a look at these weapons. First of all, we've got this dagger. Now, the sheath itself is all one piece of sculpted plastic with this clip on the back. Now, I am assuming that is to hang on the belt that he wears. Quite heavy, this, and the reason for that is that this knife itself is all metal. Really like to see this. Gone are the days, it seems, even with third parties of plastic knives and plastic swords. And this is pretty nice, actually. The paintwork on the hilt there is good to make it look like bindings. It's all one piece of metal. You've got some black paint in there. You've got some lighter paint to highlight the grip itself. There's a bit of a wash on there. There's also a wash on the blade itself to give you that shaded effect. I'm not sure if the camera's catching this. I'll bring this light in a little bit more, so yeah, that's a little better. So you can get an idea of the weathering and the shading that they've done on the blade there. Very nice. It's got some weight to it. It's not too sharp, but it's still quite sharp. So be careful. Don't want any injuries out there. So that's the dagger. So while we're on the weapons, let's take a look at the sword itself. Here's the sword. All plastic sheath with what looks like a pleather strap around it. I am not sure whether that's pleather or leather. It looks like pleather to me. I will do the sniff test later. But yeah, sculpted plastic sheath. It's got some gold highlighted writing on the hilt itself there. There's this... I think this might be metal, this tip at the end here. It feels like metal. Yeah. So you've got this gold tip at the end with the rivets in it, which is rather nice. The sculpt works pretty good. No real weathering on there, but maybe that's something that I can look to do after this review. But yeah, overall, pretty good, pretty impressive. Screen accuracy here, I haven't revisited this film for quite some time, so I can't really comment on the screen accuracy, but let me know if you're a big Conan fan, and let me know how accurate these weapons are and these accessories are in the comment section. It would be much appreciated. So, as before with the dagger, let's get this out. This sword is all metal again. Very nicely done too. There's some washes in the hilt there to give it that sort of shaded effect. There's some writing printed into the metal itself in the hilt there. The hilt itself is painted gold. We've got gold paint there, and then this brown wash on the handle to give it that sort of cord effect. It's got a nice shine to it. One thing I did notice when I initially unboxed this is there is a slight chip here, which is a shame. There's a chip in the blade. I'm not sure whether the camera's catching that, but a minor flaw. I can live with it. I don't think it's something that the untrained eye would pick up when this thing's displayed. But yeah, overall, it's got some weight to it. It's got some heft to it. You could use this as a letter opener if you wanted to. Quite sharp again, but it's, yeah, all one piece of metal. Very well made, very well sculpted, and just very effective. Once again, the screen accuracy here, I'm sure someone will tell me how accurate this is without me having to revisit the film. So yeah, that's the sword. So pretty much the same quality as the dagger. So we'll put those to one side. What else do you get with your figure? Very little else, really. There's this headband. Now, this it feels like plastic. It actually feels like sculpted plastic, this headband. Doesn't feel like leather. Yeah, it is. It's plastic. But it's quite nice. You've got the circles and the squares there that have got a wash to them to make them look a little bit shaded. It's quite nicely done. How this fits on the head, we will see when we get the figure out itself. But yeah, that's the headband. So we'll put that to one side. And let's take a look at this base. Now, it does come with a very, very nice diorama base, and this has got some weight to it. Feels like it's polystone. Yeah, it's most certainly not plastic. It's polystone onto a plastic circular base itself. Looks like it's been glued on, and pretty nice it is too. We've got some nice detailing on here. You've got skulls. There are teeth. There are bones here with some nice washes on them to highlight the areas on there and the holes, and some weathering. The actual base itself looks like rock. Looks like it's meant to be a sort of combination of rock or dirt. Then we've got this piece at the front here, which looks like a log with some binding on it, and clamped around that log are a rather large pair of jaws with some fanged teeth. And there's some nice paint washes on there. And there's some nice shading on there. There's some greens, there's some reds. It's very nice. I mean, for a third party to put this much effort into a display base is really, really nice to see. I mean, often we just get the bog standard oval with a sticker on top, but yeah, this is really, really nice to see, and I think I will be using this in the display base. I was contemplating prior to opening this box and seeing this standard. My initial thoughts straight away was it's going on the Thanos base, the one I use all the time, as viewers to this channel will know. But no, I think this one may very well find its way into the detail. Quite like this, yeah, so nice work. Props to HHTOYS for that, and not just going down the generic route. Standard issue crotch grabber that fits into the hole there. So there's the stand. That's a little bit loose, but yeah, we can work with that. We can live with that. So I'll put the base to one side. And what I do like, and what was quite unusual, is how this head sculpt is actually presented in the box itself. It's not on the figure. It comes in this rather nice plastic case. And straight away, it always strikes fear into my heart when I see rooted hair. I've only got a few figures with rooted hair. I think I have the Daisy Domagru from Hateful Eight. That's got rooted hair. What else have I got that's got rooted hair? I got one recently. Oh yeah, it's the Hugh Glass from Revenant. So this is probably only my second or third venturing into the rooted hair world, because it always strikes me with a bit of fear. I've always preferred sculpted hair, but this looks pretty good. So let's get him out of this container and take a look at him. Just bear with me while we remove this from the. It doesn't want to come out. This is, as I say, this is brand new. So yeah, it's going to take a little bit of effort to get this off. There we go. And let's get him out and have a look at him. Now, I was a little worried, I'll be honest with you, when I saw some of the promotional shots of this head sculpt. I was concerned that this is what would let the figure down. But initial impressions are very, very good of a young Arnie. There were certain angles where I thought it was off, but now I've got it in hand. I don't know whether the camera's picking this up, but I think that is a pretty good likeness of Arnie, and it's and if it's a recast from another company, there's plenty to go at out there. Then I apologise, but if it's original work, then they've done a damn fine job, I think. It was quite young back then, so yeah, the paintwork is very good. The sculpt is pretty good. The eyes could possibly be a little bit glassier. But yeah, the profile is most certainly Arnie. straight on it's Arnie, and let's have a look at this rooted hair. Now, I think actually what they've done here is pretty good. It's a very similar thing to what they did with the Hugh Glass figure, DJ Customs, where they've actually put some, I don't know what they put in the hair, whether it's a glue, whether it's a product, what it is, but it keeps the top part of the hair flat, and then the rest of it can then sort of float free. But I'm actually quite impressed with that rooted hair. I think it's quite effective, and I suspect once you've got that headband on there, which will hold this down, it will be very, very effective. But yeah, quite impressed with that head sculpt. But so there you have it. That's the one head sculpt that comes with the figure. What we'll do next, as we always do, is we'll bring the figure out, we'll get it on the turntable, we'll get the head on, add the base, the dagger, the sword, and see how this guy looks on the turntable. So without further ado, let's bring the big guy out himself. Okay, so here he is, straight out of the box, straight onto that display base, and straight onto the turntable. And a couple of things struck me. Just taking him out of the box is the sheer weight of this figure. It's a very, very heavy figure. We'd expect that from a Schwarzenegger figure. That was the first thing that struck me. What struck me as well was the fact that this body is totally seamless, right the way down to the feet themselves, which is fantastic. Always a huge plus point, especially with an Arnie figure, but with most figures that are walking around with exposed arms, exposed chests, we do like a good seamless body, and it's great to see third parties using pretty much virtually seamless bodies throughout. So great body, great proportions, great weight. Also, another fantastic thing I noticed when putting this head sculpt on is that it's actually magnetic rather than it being the normal ball peg joint for the head. We've actually gone the magnetic route, so it's really, really good to see, as I say, third parties using seamless bodies, using magnetic heads, providing diorama display bases. All good for us collectors to see third parties doing this as well. But yeah, let's take a look at the figure itself. Yeah, straight away, I am really, really impressed. I am. My fears about that head sculpt seem to have been dispelled. Yeah, let's take a closer look at him. Let's stop him spinning. First of all, let's get this turntable stopped. And if it decides it wants to work, which, as we know, if viewers of my channel will know that this turntable needs an exorcist sometimes. Okay, let's bring him a little bit closer in, and as we always do, let's start with, we've already covered the base, but let's start with the feet on this figure. Now, the boots of this figure all feel like one piece of sculpted plastic, but there's some nice detailing on there. There's some bindings that wrap around. There's not much by the way of weathering. I think this figure is probably going to go onto my list of figures to be weathered. I think a bit of weathering would help. But yeah, all one sculpted piece of plastic, no split cut boot design here, that lead up to these lovely artificial fur toppers to the boots with what feels like pleather straps across them. They're not actually stuck on. It feels like they're actually tied on. Yeah, they are, and there's a buckle there. So yeah, these feel like pleather. If they are leather, please correct me in the comment section. Then you've got these canvas trousers, and it's here when you actually feel these brown canvas stroke cotton trousers that you can feel that this is actually a fully seamless body all the way up here. Yeah, the body all the way is completely seamless, and all rubber, and really props to HHTOYS for the body that they've used here. I'm not 100%. I'm not the world's greatest aficionado of Arnie, but it looks in proportion to me maybe slightly small. I don't know. Were those biceps bigger in Conan the Barbarian? I don't know. Please, if this body is out of proportion, let me know. I'd be interested to find out. But it looks pretty screen accurate to me. So yeah, we've got these nice brown cotton stroke canvas pants that lead up to the faux fur on this crotch area. This crotch area is, it actually feels like it's removable. This is sculpted plastic. There's some nice detailing on there, sculpted plastic stitching to make it look authentic. There's a gold buckle there. Then we've got these studs that are obviously part of the sculpted plastic itself. Let's see how that looks. That faux fur continues all the way around the back. And that belt continues as well. We've got faux fur on the top, which all leads up to this tunic vest, which once again feels like leather. If it is leather, please let me know. I couldn't really smell leather when I brought the figure out of the box. All I got was a huge lungful of factory air, which always pleases me. I know, I'm odd that way, but I love the smell of new figures. So working our way up, we go to this necklace here, which has got some nice detailing on it, some nice washes on it, on the teeth to make them look authentic. I believe it's a pleather strap round there and this emblem in the middle. They're all plastic, but the paint washes on there are nice to make them look like bone or ivory. The seamless arms themselves, very, very good. Let's bring him in a little bit closer so you can get an idea of how this seamless body looks. Very, very nice. The usual warnings apply here. You know, if you're going to go for a dynamic pose with this figure, be careful not to leave it in for any length of time in a particularly dynamic pose, because as we all know, the rubber used on these seamless bodies has a tendency to split and stretch and generally disfigure over time. So be careful when posing. But there's vein work in these arms. The colour's right. It matches the head, and it matches the hands. You've got these two different types of wrist bindings going on. These come off the figure when you're swapping the hands out. They're actually protected by plastic when you first take the figure out of the box. But you've got this sort of sculpted plastic gauntlet, which has got some nice paint washes on it, detailing on there. It looks quite metallic. On the other side, what is once again is sculpted plastic, but it's meant to look more like material bindings, and once again some nice paintwork on there to make it look like material. And then onwards and upwards to this head sculpt. Let's move him back so you can see how this head sculpt looks. And as I said, when I first saw this picture and I saw the promo shots, I was a little concerned that at some angles that wasn't Arnie, but now I've got it in hand. I'm actually really, really impressed with this head sculpt. You know, it's the paint applications are good. The likeness to Arnie is almost 100%. There is something slightly off, and I'm not sure what it is. I don't know whether it's the eyes, but overall, I think it's exceptionally effective. I think it will be even more effective once that headband's on there. I think this hair is probably not helping too much either, but I really do like the way they've done the hair as well. I'm not the kind of person who unboxes a figure and then wants to go and spend 3 weeks studying hairdressing before I can display my figure. So rooted hair has always given me the heebie-jeebies a little bit, but and I've always opted more for the sculpted look. But I'm getting more, shall we say, tolerant and more. I'm liking more the rooted hair, especially with the techniques that they're using prior to sending these things out, so you don't have to, as I say, do a hairdressing course to get your figure to look the way you want it. But yeah, there you have it. Let's get him spinning again so you can take another look at him all the way around. I have to say, I'm pretty impressed. For a third-party figure, the body, the materials they've used, the metal weapons, the magnetic head, the quality of the head sculpt, everything is actually exceptionally impressive, and I'm really, really quite pleased with this so far. But what we'll do next, as we always do, we can try and stop him from doing a 90-degree turn, is we'll get him into the detolf, get him under the detolf lights, get him into a pose. We'll add the headband, maybe add the sword and the dagger, see how this guy displays. So without further ado, it's over to the detolf. Okay, so here we are over at the detolf with Big Arnie from Conan the Barbarian from HHTOYS. We've got him on the stand, we've got him into a pose. So let's take a closer look at him. And straight away, I have to say, exceptionally impressed with this figure, especially for a third-party figure. I was just having a conversation with my other half, who is taken with this figure, very much so. Just about how third parties these days are using things like high quality seamless bodies, magnetic heads, metal accessories and diorama bases. It's just fantastic to see. It really is just good news for us collectors. But yeah, let's take a closer look at this guy. And yeah, I am thoroughly impressed. I really, really am, from this rather fantastic diorama base and the details and the skulls and the paintwork and everything else, through the costume with the faux fur, the gauntlets, this beautiful metal sword, even though it does have a minor chip in it, but we'll forgive that one. The body itself, really, really impressive, looks in proportion to me. The outfit is fantastic. That tunic, I think I forgot to mention when we're actually down on the table, that tunic actually ties under the arms, and all the ties on this tunic, which is very, very well done. We've actually got the graining, just the perfect scale, but all the ties on this tunic, including the necktie, are all material. They're not sculpted in any way. They're actually bits of material that hold the tunic together, and the whole thing, the whole package, just is incredibly impressive. And let's take a closer look at this head sculpt. Now, I had my doubts about this head sculpt, but now I've got it in hand. Those doubts have dispelled. I really, really do like it. It's a bit of an issue getting that headband on and getting it to stay on, and that hair may need a little bit of futzing to get it just the way I want it. But overall, as an overall package, this is really, really impressive. And as a likeness of Arnie in Conan the Barbarian, I think it is absolutely stunning. I'm really, really impressed, I have to say. I was concerned that there might be issues with this figure, not least of those being the head sculpt, but all of those concerns have been dispelled. And I'm struggling to find fault with this figure. I really, really am. And as I say, for a third-party figure, it is fantastic. If you are a big Arnie fan, if you are a Conan fan, you could do a lot worse than have this figure in your collection. And I know there are a lot of very expensive customs out there, custom jobs of this figure, of this character rather. And at this price point, really, not only does it spell out quality, but it also spells out value for money as well, which can't be a bad thing, especially not in today's world of increasing prices, especially around artisan pieces, in particular 6-scale figures. So yeah, there you have it. That's HHTOYS, Arnold Schwarzenegger from Conan the Barbarian. So I suppose all it remains for me to say is thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. What do you think of this figure? Is it something that you think of buying? Is it what are your thoughts on this? We've got plenty more content coming up, so please do, subscribe to the channel. What's coming up? Oh, I think we mentioned in a number of the previous reviews. We've got the version 2 of Bill the Butcher by Present Toys. That's coming up pretty soon. The Dragon in Dreams, Tom Cruise from Top Gun Maverick. The Art Figures Furion, Vin Diesel as Riddick. The Caustic Plastic Horror of Dracula duo, they're due in soon. We've got an updated tour collection video coming up pretty soon, so subscribe so you don't miss that one. What else have we got? Pretty soon as well, we should be having the first look at X06's Admiral Picard from Season 3 of Picard, so all that's coming up, so yeah. As always, take care of yourselves, happy collecting, and thank you again for watching.